Okay.
We're live. Oops. My bad. Oh, we got nobody watching right now. This algorithm don't like me. So I'm gonna wait a second before we get the show started. Get a few folk butts in the seat. Holla back.
Not like them. I'm different.
How? What makes you different?
There is no one in front of me and no one in back.
Welcome to the commission.
They want me dead, they want me inside of a brown box. They wanna lie in their head like the dreadlocks. They wanna hurt me bad, they want me in the ground. They don't want me to speak, so I don't make a sound. They want me dead, they want me inside of a brown box. They wanna lie in their head like the dreadlocks. They wanna hurt me bad, they want me in the ground. They don't want me to speak, so I don't make a sound. Controlling my pain. I say some things that tell me God is controlling my brain. It's getting dark, but know that God is controlling the rain. Don't cry, sister, just hold your man when you know he in pain. They was acting like I wouldn't break it back, like I wasn't gon' come and get these motherfuckers act right. They send a man when they wanna push back. Why I can't be nice? Why I gotta talk trash like? Just let me shine, nigga, use me as a flashlight. I know you killers, so I keep it in the stash like. Give me the beat, I'ma ride it like a track light. Respect those who only rap about a trap life. My art is different, you see me dividing the line. 15 minutes, I'ma do it inside of my time. Just be a star, you don't know when that go to the pine. What's the purpose when the service don't show that you grind?
I may go anywhere I want to go and be whatever I wish to be.
What is it that you wish to be?
I wish to be free.
Slap that dude.
That's death and us. And that's a hard
DJ Flip, make the money flip.
Fuck all the dumb shit. Give me my crown. Lighter than the air if you dig my sound. We came to act up and shut shit down. Ain't got no time for you clown. I got no time for your monkey shit.
Turn it right, break it down like a pound. Shut it down. We the realest. Bitches winning, I'ma kill it. Monkey
When you
business.
see me in the street, tell that nigga he should stand back. You can get my number, nigga, let me get my hand back.
Monkey shit off in his man bag. When I come and give me cash back, transferring me the money. Bitch, he only give you hand back.
He give you a pinch, bitch, I'm double-handed. I ain't taking pics unless them pics is candid.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Evelyn. I'm here to introduce you to a new level of entertainment. The stars have aligned, connecting Brooklyn, New York, Sacramento, California, and Atlanta, Georgia. The team. Introducing Flatbush, Brooklyn's finest, the boss, Chef Choupino. Hailing from Sacramento, California, is Andrea Lynch. From the dirty South Atlanta, Georgia, is your boy, Victor Freeze Music, or just Vic.
Club phone jump, it's the weekend. You done come true with the fake friends. Hitting down doors, that's a defense. Rolling with all, that's an offense. It me change, you let me peachin'. With a bull shaking to my maybe drop bands. So they don't buy, and I say, so they don't buy, you the kid play, baby, tell me what you want. Julian, well, I know you ain't fun. Ever since remember that we been knocking at the door. Y'all been moving paper, we be running up the school. Never for that pill that we were sleeping on the floor. West side Africa, you know the shit ain't hard. I don't care what they say. We don't care. Driving all night long. I don't care what they say. We don't care. Pop it, baby. Come roll with me. As times relax, my mind's relax. I got now from who got next. Here's my number, just send a text. You got a man and she responds, nah. Okay, sure enough, I'ma let you go, don't wanna hold you up. I'ma call your phone when I'm putting up. Whoever let you go must be them as far. Wait far. Girl, you so fine, I'll pay for. Fly you first class to LA for. Body so blessed, I pray for. Body so blessed, I pray for. Because I don't care what you say. I don't care what they say. We don't care. Driving all night long. I don't care what they say. We don't care. Driving all night long. Why did I kill it? Night long. It's the part where you get your girl, nigga. Make sure she focus, nigga. Make sure you focus, nigga. Let's go. 1, 2, 3, hit it. I don't care what they say. We don't care. Driving all night long. I don't care what they say. We don't care. Driving all night long. I don't care what they say. We don't care. Driving all night long. I don't care what they say. That's a hit for your ass, nigga. Hit for your ass, nigga. Profit the one.
Daydream with me, let your mind explore all the things we were created for. Possibilities, an open door that keeps us reaching out for more. Sure that out the pain. Will color me blue, tickle me pink. Who knew that the brink of
You know it ain't me unless I'm muted, right? What's going on, y'all? What is going on? It's your boy, yeah, no hat today. I just wasn't in the vibe. Got my Houston shirt, playing it back today. What's up? It's your boy, Chef. Welcome, welcome, welcome to another night of, we could say, intellectual debauchery, but you saw the title. You saw the title. We're about to talk some facts. We're about to clear up what we call the hyperbole. We're about to bring some facts to light. Not any facts that were hidden. Not any facts. Hold on 1 second. Not any facts that were hidden, but facts that were there all along, and we just needed to piece them together. So I'm not piecing it together by myself. So what I'd like to do is bring the ubiquitous Andrea Lynch to the table. What up? Let me switch you over to where your face is. Boom.
How y'all doing today? How y'all doing?
What's good? What's good? What's good, y'all? Yeah, it's one of those days.
Yes, it's
one of those days. Andrea made me do this. She fooled around with my spirit. She fooled around with my spirit today, y'all. Yes, she did. And she sent, she talked to me about something the day before, but then she actually sent me something else. And I realized I got really, really, really pissed off. Right. So that's what brought us here today. All right. So without further ado, what we're going to do first is...
Okay, that's what we need, some truth and some balance. Okay, that's all we want.
Yeah, we're going to have to bring some truth and balance to this mix right now, without question. So let's say what up. What's going on, A1 Day One? What up, Dawn? Hey, see you in the spot. Red Lipstick Vibes. Thank you for dropping through. We know who this is. Who else we got up in the spot? I saw there was somebody else in there too. There she goes. Raw B Privilege. What's going on? Don't worry, when it's time, I know you're going to jump up. I know you're going to snatch that link up, so I look forward to it. Who else we got in the spot? Mika Marcel. What's going on? A1 Day One. I see you, Raw. Yeah. Oh, snap. And then we got somebody else who be calling folks out too. Man, Terrell Long in the spot. Salute, big dog. Good to see you doing well. So we got that out of the way. Yes. So we're going to talk. Mm-hmm. We are going to talk without giving everything away, Andrea. You know what I'm saying? Let's just give a little surface of how this show actually came about. Let's talk about with that live video that everyone was clamoring about.
Well, my ass is a little nosy. Okay, I'm minding everybody else's business except my own damn business. Okay, I be on the Instagram and I come across a video by Kimora Simmons. I was like, oh, okay.
Kimora Lee Simmons.
Kimora Lee Simmons, okay. And she was complaining about her ex-husband. So I just thought, when I've been married, so when you're married, you get divorced, you're gonna have some issues. And so, but their daughters are grown now. And she was complaining that her ex-husband has been harassing the daughters. And so I said, okay. And so I listened to the daughter side. And then I started asking questions. I was like, I feel like it's a manipulation going on. Okay. And then I was saying, he was saying that he was broke and
okay, you see, I told you, you're going too far into it. You're going too far into it. We just need a backstory.
Okay.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen, pretty much many of you have seen the video of Aoki Simmons, who happens to be the daughter of Russell Simmons, the major mogul, let's call him the largest and first hip hop mogul to exist. He created a company that was a small boutique company that ended up growing as independent, and then eventually got was being distributed by a major, and that company was called Def Jam. At this point, Def Jam is a whole conglomerate, and it's absorbed so many different labels, but it's Island Def Jam Music Group. Russell spent a lot of time being a maverick, getting it out of the mud, doing everything he could do, showing up with records, showing up with music, trying to get stuff played on the radio, doing everything he could to support and grow his artists, and thus grow his business. And then we fast forward. He became huge. The label became huge. He ended up selling and got some good money from it. He created, and there was not just Def Jam, there was Rush associated labels as well. And then he created Fat Farm. Pivotal clothing line. It was, you could say it started in the FUBU Sean John era in the 90s, and it became pivotal, and eventually he was able to sell it for a profit. Awesome. But even before he sold it, there was another line he created for women and for his wife called Baby Fat. You remember the cat?
Yeah.
Right. Baby Fat, the jeans and all of that. Then, after he was done with that, he delved into finance and created the Rush card. If anybody understands what Rush is, there's Rush associated labels, Rush management. Russell Simmons' nickname back in the day is Rush. That's what they called him, Rush, because he was always running around. All right. So this man built so much, did reality shows, created a lane for his little brother, Reverend Run. He did so much. And what ended up happening at some point is we end up at this point where we see his daughter pretty much talking a whole bunch of smack about him online. Now, some people don't think it's smack. Some people feel, he's not being the right kind of father. So what I'd like to do is allow you to hear it first. Let me make sure. And you're gonna play a couple. All right. And what I'm gonna do is, here we go. Here we go. I'm about to play this. We're gonna present. This is wild though.
Honestly, make me feel better if something was severely wrong, because this is just not the father that I know.
Aoki Simmons is in tears as she explains her difficult relationship with her father, Russell Simmons.
My dad was always good to me, and then he just completely changed.
Russell's family is accusing him of erratic and abusive behavior as Aoki shares on social media screen grabs and text messages and soundless video of Russell appearing to berate her. Mom Kimora has also weighed in.
Probably the breaking point for all of this was over the past many months when their dad just sort of cut them off.
As for the people asking why Aoki would take this public and put her family on blast on social media, it feels to me like this is a last-ditch effort. Like they've tried everything, and maybe the only way to get through to Russell is to go public with him. She said he needs help, and maybe this is her way of ensuring that that happens.
It would honestly make me feel better if something was severely wrong, because this is just not the father that I know.
Aoki Lee Simmons is in tears as she explains her difficult relationship with her father, Russell Simmons.
My dad was always good to me, and then he just completely changed.
Russell's family is accusing him of erratic and abusive behavior as Aoki shares on social media screen grabs and text messages and soundless video of Russell appearing to berate her. Mom Kimora has also weighed.
You're on mute.
Welcome to Chef's Show. So you see the crying, the whining, and all of that. Peace, Rudy. Peace. Everybody send a happy belated birthday to Rudy. Yo, son, I text you, and I realized I text the wrong number. It's the old 516 joint, bro. Happy Father's Day. Happy belated birthday. I just realized that when I switched phones today. All right. So let's talk about it. Because I know my homegirl, Andrea, she was on another show and there was a totally different narrative. So what I'd like you to do, Andrea, first is to give, I want you, and remember, don't give it away, but I want you to give the narrative that was being given when you were at those other spaces.
Well, the narrative I was being given that it was Russell's fault. You know, he's being abusive to his daughters. He's not treating them right. He cut them off. But I couldn't shake the feeling. My mom always said it's three sides to a story, but I couldn't shake the feeling that it was more to the story. So I kept looking until I found the answers that I'm looking for. And so I think for me, I look at it, it's manipulation at its finest. You know, I mean, it's parents and kids and grown kids' relationship with their parents are, when they get grown, it's totally different. And sometimes if you've been raised with money, you feel a little entitlement. And so that's what I was looking at.
It's so they feel entitled. Okay.
Entitled.
So Kimora Lee, she was a model, and she had started modeling as a teenager, and eventually she married Russell. Their marriage lasted, they divorced, what was that, 2009? They divorced, but they still remained partners. Okay? They literally still remained partners in business and in terms of, let's say, rearing the children. But then we move forward. She married Jim Hunsu, the actor. Remember him? Give Me Free from Amistad. Jim Hunsu, great actor, good dude. She married him. And when she was married to Russell, she had two children, Ming Lee Simmons and Aoki Lee Simmons. She married Jim Hunsu. She ended up bearing a child for him named Kenzo. All right. After her marriage to Jim Hunsu ended, she married a man named Tim Leisner. Tim Leisner. Who is Tim Leisner? Tim Leisner is pretty much a financier who worked with Goldman Sachs, which is one of the premier investment firms that exists. That's going to be critically important when we discuss this, all right? So we're going to start talking about it. And if anybody wants to jump up, you know, this is not going to be a super long conversation, but let's call this a reality check or reality set. I just dropped it into the chat. So let's talk. First things first. One of my issues is the fact that an adult is literally crying on social media to speak about the fact that, or speak about what she perceives as her father not wanting to support her at 20 years old. She went to Harvard University. She had a silver spoon in her mouth. She started her life. She literally started her life as the princess of someone who was the king of hip hop moguls.
Right.
Literally. This was before he did it before Diddy. He did it before Jay. He did it before a lot of different people.
Right.
And the fact that she would literally jump up onto the screen and start talking about the fact that Daddy said no. Daddy said no.
Mm-hmm.
If daddies don't say no, you realize that creates a problem for whoever, that young beauty decides to be with.
Right. Right.
Somebody got to tell you no, right?
Mm-hmm.
I would think someone needs. I'm sorry, go ahead.
My daddy don't say no plenty of times. gotta get it like I got it. That's what he told me. Gotta get it like I did it.
You got to get it out the mud.
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm doing right now. I was having a little technical issue, but we still gonna talk about it. So Aoki literally was up there talking garbage. To me, I felt she was talking garbage. Some folks feel, oh, that's a father. He needs to father those children. He really needs to be a dad to those kids. That's not right. I don't hear nothing you saying when you say that. He did his job.
Right.
He did his job. All right. So let's talk. Here's one of the things. You remember when there was a vacation. There was a trip that she wanted to take. There's more than one trip because Aoki travels.
Right.
But there was one particular trip that she always talks about that she wanted to take, which was to go to Fashion Week.
Yes.
And she literally was upset because she felt as though her mom did not want to give her the money to go to Fashion Week, to get her a suite or get her an apartment Fashion Week. That's what some folks do, Airbnb. Her mom said no. She said, why? Her mom said, because you don't have a job.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have a job. That's major.
Right.
That's natural. You don't have a job. So how you going to do it?
Mm-hmm.
This happened months ago. What Aoki didn't understand was why mom was being tight now. Tight with the purse strings when she wasn't tight with the purse strings before. Mom has had nothing but millionaires.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Right.
So she's always been within the lap of luxury. Okay. TC said a mother and father's job is never done. I hear all of that. Remember, your face is giving away what you know. Remember, everybody else doesn't know it, Andrea. We're going to talk about it.
Okay.
We're going to talk about it. So,
I mean, the thing is, I was 19. I know I told my mom I wanted to go to Vegas with my girlfriend. She said, oh, yeah, you can go to Vegas. She said, sure. Now, on your dime, on your dime. That means you're not going on my money. You're not going. And I was 19 living at home. So I had to save my money if I wanted to go to Vegas. Like my mom said, look, you're grown now. You're not a baby. So not on my dime. You're not going to Vegas on my dime. So I could understand where Kimora is coming from. If she wanted to go to Fashion Week and she had the money to do it, fine, do you. But you're not gonna go on mine. And that teaches responsibility. That teaches character. That teaches you're not because I'm a billionaire don't mean you a billionaire. I mean, I don't understand that. You know,
me either. Right? But here's what we're going to do. We're going to take a look at our little crier. Where is she? It's a sweet little crybaby. There she goes.
No, but I know it's going to start more drama, but it's been years. All that money, they're crying about nothing. Russell Simmons doesn't give me any money. Smoothie. And you're saying this starts more drama, but it's been years. I've been in the drama for years, since I was like 15. So yeah, maybe it feels like more drama now, but I've tried, and I just don't think it's fair that I have to be quiet and I can't say it. It's ruining my job, and I don't get to have a career because it's not fair. All he does is post crazy, out of control stuff, and we all just say like, God, like, if I respond, it's going to be worse. If I respond, it's going to be worse.
Maybe you all need some therapy instead of using social media as your therapy. How about that?
How about that? Using social media as your therapy. So I'm giving y'all stuff in pieces just because I like to see how new information impacts you. All right. So I see TC. Oh, let me send love. You said what up to TC? The third leg of A1 Day Ones is here in the spot. Quantum Dean of Metaphysics, who's also a content creator doing her thing. So please make sure you check out and sub to Quantum. She's on point with it. Yes, spoiled. TC said, Russ has always been a stickler for children carrying their own weight. I can totally agree. Mm-hmm. If I got it out the mud and it made me a better person, me putting a certain level of onus on my child's growth, and ability, and let's call it his endurance, to help him build endurance. Mm-hmm. There's nothing wrong with that, because a lot of times if you just give something to someone, they become totally entitled. Exactly. They become extremely entitled, and they don't feel they have to work for anything. TCO said, mother always told me, just because she and my father had it doesn't mean it's mine. Children are not entitled to their parents' money.
Right.
They do need therapy. Mm-hmm. Yes. All right. Everybody else, make sure you sub to Quantum as well. So
I have a prime example.
Talk to me.
My ex-husband bought my daughter three cars, and she fucked all of them up. And she tried to go get the fourth car. I was like, dude, you ain't gonna get that one out of here. This time she bought her own car with her own money. And she don't want nobody to touch it. She don't want nobody too close to her. I said, oh, it's okay when you're paying for it. But when daddy was paying for it, you didn't really care about it. But now you paying for it. And so I'm like I was like, and I told him, I said, you buy her another car, she ain't gonna respect it, but she respect this car. She respect this car because she had to get it herself. Sometimes
I'm trying to find. Go ahead.
Sometimes you have to let them be their own person. Let them pay their way, because they will respect it better. When somebody give you something, even my mom told me, when I got my car that my ex-husband gave me, my first car, I respected that car, because my mom said she wasn't buying me no car. And when I got my car and I got my own driver's license, I was free. I was like, thank you, Jesus. I respected it. And so you got to let the kids respect.
How did you feel? How did you feel once you got your own? On your own? Tell me about that feeling.
Well, my mom didn't feel like the girls should get their driver's license. I think she didn't let us get a driver's license because she's afraid we might leave home. Okay, so she was like, keeping us from driver's license, you ain't going nowhere. So when I got married, I told my ex-husband, I said, the only thing I want in this marriage, when we first got married, I said, I want to learn how to drive. I want to be free. And he said, okay. He taught me how to drive, and I failed my driver's license 3 times. Okay, I got them. I failed it 3 times, but I got my driver's license, and I felt free, and I respected that first car I got. I did. I was so happy because I walked home 6 miles from my job because my ex-husband wasn't on time, and I walked 6 miles. I was mad. I walked 6 miles from I was on, he was late picking me up. And that day I was mad. I was like, this is that bullshit. I want my driver's license. I want to be free. And the next day I went and got my driver's license.
So let's talk. How did all of this come about? Because Aoki did state that Russell left her stranded in Europe. Right. That he left her stranded. So we're going to be debunking some things, and left her with $100 or something about $100 to her name. Here's what happened. He did not cut. She said he cut her credit card off when she was out there. No, the credit card had already been cut, and she realized it when she was there. All right. In Greece, exactly. So now we're going to go forward. If you guys saw the actual argument and you saw what Russell was doing, when she showed Russell speaking, she had him muted, but she was showing him speaking. This is important. If you noticed what he was saying, he said, I'm broke. I don't got any more money. I'm broke. Some people don't understand. They said, what do you mean he's broke? He ain't broke. I'll explain. So in the early 2000s, in 2000s, Russell invested. You know, he had some monies, but he invested a significant amount of his fortune. Her mom fixed it. Yeah. So he ended up involving a good amount of his fortune into a company called Celsius. Celsius is an energy drink company, and it's actually the number 3 energy drink in the world. It's number 1 in Sweden, in the Nordic countries. You've heard of Celsius before. Celsius is pretty large. You've heard of Celsius because Celsius is also the energy drink maker that got sued by Flow Rider.
Right.
Flow Rider ended up winning a lawsuit because he was the only investor, and he won $82 million. He received $82 million. Why did he make that much money? And why are you going to see why Russell was pissed? I'll explain. On August 1st, 2022, Pepsi purchased over $500 million stake in Celsius. It was blowing up that much. The competition, who has their own, invested in you. So that made the stock price shoot through the roof. So Russell Simmons, he had millions of shares in Celsius. He figured he was rich. He's sitting on a hell of a lot of money. But then something else happened. Kimora ended up with her third husband, Tim Leissner, who worked at Goldman Sachs. She did something, and I'll explain. She met Tim Leissner. Tim Leissner happened to have been married when he met her, and he knew that she was moneybags. He knew it already. She was a good mark. So what did he do? And you can look it up. He faked his divorce. He faked his divorce from his current wife at that time so that he can actually marry Kimora. He married her. He did all the celebrity star stuff with her. He was able to make it onto the scene, had a child with her. He was there in the moment, in the places he needed to be, to get money, launder money, and do his dastardly deeds. And eventually, 2018, federal probe found that he had been embezzling money, and he was doing a money laundering scheme. in Europe and outside of the country as well as inside of the country. And he was on trial. And you know the feds don't play.
Right.
So we put that to the side now. What happens then is that, when the feds indict you, there's something that they do, which is freeze your assets. They freeze your assets. They don't want you spending a dime. If they think you stole, they're not going to let you get your bread back until they know if it is what's called ill-gotten gains. So it's almost as though you have to prove that that money was legal and it wasn't part of a skim, part of a laundering process. All right. So he was on trial. You can't go pro se. You can't go and defend yourself against the feds. That doesn't work. Right. He needed a lawyer. So how was he going to get a lawyer? Well, his wife decided, because she was still a partner within position, or at least a stakeholder that had access to the fund that her and Russell have, that Russell has really, and she was a principal in there. What she decided to do was take a few million shares, liquidate those shares of Celsius in order to pay for her husband's defense. She stole my shit to pay for her scamming ass new husband to get out of jail, to pay for his defense.
Her third husband.
Her third husband. All right. Hey, Kimberly Black, how you doing? I mean, she was 17 when they got married. I don't know, but what I'll say is this. That doesn't have anything to do with this. You understand what I'm saying? Because what she did in this situation was embezzle. Now, Robbie said she didn't. I need more. I want to understand what you mean when you say she didn't. Right? But let's talk about why he's pissed. So, for one, the money was taken and she liquidated stocks and shares. So if you understand shares, if you understand the stock market, I'm in the stock market, you sit on some stuff. Sometimes you hold in the bag, but a lot of times if you play smart, you let it sit and allow it to grow and mature, right? So he was expecting that his stock was sitting because Celsius has been growing. So let's talk about the money. What she did was she liquidated all of those assets. And when she liquidated those assets, the share price was around $40, $50. The share price was $40 or $50. Okay. So let me pull this up. This is really crazy. I'm going to show you what the stock value is now, so you can understand his level of frustration. And when we talk about theft, and when he said something about a couple 100 million, you'll get it. Here. This is how much the stock is worth now. This is how much the stock is worth now. Let's do a 5-year run back. Okay. Mm-hmm. This is what the stock is worth, $141.36 per share. So what does that mean? What does it mean? What it means that is she liquidated those stocks for her own gain at that time, which prevented him from allowing those stocks to mature. And that's why he sued her in court. So we have to look. That's why I said this is not going to be me giving you new information, really. It's going to be more of me just connecting the existing dots so that you actually see the narrative. Russell took a major hit behind that. She stated she was taking it out and she was going to put it back in. But here was the problem. She couldn't put it back in because then they froze, the feds froze that too. So why should Russell have to pay for that? Okay, you're already revealing your angle, Kimberly Black. That's one of your homies. Listen, and lost in court. He lost in the California court. All right. Here's the thing. You have to prove what he had to do. What you would actually have to do is you have to be able to prove beyond the preponderance of the evidence. All right. Because it's a civil suit. It doesn't have the same rules as a criminal case where it's beyond a reasonable doubt. In civil, it's beyond it's based on preponderance of the evidence, which means it's going to lean more this way as opposed to that way. The evidentiary rules and the way that things are looked at is not the same. So a lot of that is in, yes, and he did lose it in court. Here's the point. So I already see, let me say this, because now this is what I wanted. Y'all need to hit that link. So let's talk. I don't give a shit if somebody wins or loses in court. We know what's right and what's wrong. Let's be real about this. The woman took millions of dollars out of this company, out of the entity, in order to pay for her husband's, to pay for her scamming, money laundering husband's legal defense. So let's just talk about right and wrong. Let's not just talk about who wins and who doesn't. That's just right and wrong. Okay, not only did she take those gains, but look at the stock price now. Just 1 million shares alone. Do you understand? Do you understand how much money is gone? Remember, this company was not this big. All right. Robbie, you coming up or what, man? You coming up or what? So imagine, it's hard to explain. It's like you take the seeds of something that can be a money tree and you cash those seeds in before they grow, before they come to fruition, which means that there's millions and millions and millions that he lost because of that liquidation. So when if you notice in the video, he said, I'm broke.
Right.
Remember, what's his biggest business venture? What venture do you know that Russell has right now? Right. You don't. You understand what I'm saying? This man is in his retirement. This man is in his retirement. Uh-oh, Geisha sword. Here we go. So put me on. I see you got them bundles in there. That's what you just want to flex them bundles on it. That's all it is. I see you. I'm dropping down. I ain't playing with y'all no more, man.
Don't bring himself back up here.
Yeah.
Now, from what I read yesterday, she tried to liquidate the shares and she was unsuccessful, and that's why he lost that claim in court and was ordered to pay her compensation.
$85,000.
No. It was
87,000.
No, it was $100,773.37 ordered from the Los Angeles Superior Court.
Because I know she was asking for 87. They gave all of that. So now,
yeah, they gave her what she asked for punitive plus her legal fees.
So what you're saying is that she did not liquidate.
No, she was unable to. And probably from what you said, because the feds have frozen everything. So because they froze everything, she was unable to let that go. Now,
now remember, hold on 1 second. That's the key. Remember, that was part of the freeze as well. Whatever income that she brought in, so which means that he doesn't have that. He doesn't have it. It's not his. It was frozen.
But wait, it gets deeper. Because allegedly, from what I found from the news sources, because we went through a whole bunch of news sources yesterday, what happened was he lost those shares. Like he had sold them off because he was tanking. Part of the commentary that Kimora Lee gave during her IG live was that her and her ex-husband had been keeping them afloat for years. And she wasn't married 3 times because she never got married to Digimon Ansu. They were just life partners living together. So Tim Lessener is her second husband. So this is why when you look at Aoki Lee's text messages, Aoki even says to him, "Mom didn't steal that. You lost it. You lost it." So he felt as if he was in the right. He felt as if she did something with his stocks because he simply forgot, or he didn't want to think that, he sold off that much of his stocks. But he was proven wrong in the court of law through the preponderance of the evidence, and now he's taking it out on his children. And that
So
judgment was
now,
passed November of 2022.
so let me say this to you
Mm-hmm.
in terms of stuff. They were not able to prove, he was not able to successfully prove what she did. So why do you think that he would feel that she stole from him?
Yeah.
Because, some people have a tendency to just be angry, and when things are over, they hold on to grudges and, bad intentions. He probably felt like, listen, these are mine. We had this together. He may be going through some type of mental process. He is an older gentleman. He's 64 years old. He may be in early stages of dementia or Alzheimer's. Who knows? Thank you. Have a great day. But the point is, whatever he thought, it was incorrect. And he also fled to Bali as well. He's no longer living in the United States. He's in Bali, where there is no extradition.
All right. So let's address this. What's that have to do with the disrespect he is showing his children? Kimberly Black.
What it has to do with the
Bitter.
disrespect?
What does it have to do? She said, what does it have to do with the disrespect he's showing his children? What do you mean by disrespect? And normally I understand that children respect and honor their parents. So I'd like you to tell me, Kimberly Black, what you mean by disrespecting his children. Do you mean her credit card, him not supporting grown-ass adult? What's the disrespect we're talking about?
Did
I
you
want to understand.
Chef, did you see Aoki's Instagrams and her story where she showed the text messages and her pouring out her heart to her father?
Yes.
Yes, I did.
And in the text messages, she asked her father for space. She told her father that she couldn't talk to him because he was causing her panic and anxiety attacks. He was causing her to go to therapy, and he wouldn't even pay $100 for her therapy appointments. She said she didn't want to talk to him. He was trying to communicate through her friends at Harvard and through her boyfriend. That's the disrespect.
Okay, but isn't Yaoki 20 years old? She can't pay for a therapist herself?
What she said in her Instagram story was that she doesn't care if he financially supports her. She gets it. She's grown. She can take care of herself. But he also said that he was going to ruin those girls, that they weren't going to work anywhere again. And the point is, why are you still contacting your child? If your child doesn't want to talk to you and they need space, give them space. That's overbearing and narcissistic. The disrespect is him being in her text messages telling her that her mother isn't shit, that she's a piece of shit, and she's going to jail. You don't talk to your children that way.
I mean, I get it, but
these are adults, though.
I mean, these are adults. I mean, me and my daddy have an attention relationship ourselves, and he feels like he's grown, and I feel like I'm grown too. So it's not like when I was a child, he never did speak to me out of line. But when I'm grown, he feels like he can say how he feels, and I can say how I feel.
My son.
It's just the way it is.
I never used to curse around my son. I would, different things I wouldn't do around my son. But when he turned 21 and, child support in New York was up, I took him on a trip to Vegas, pulled out a bottle of Hennessy, I let him pick what beer he wanted. He wanted Corona, and we sat down and we had long conversations and we started to talk like men. We started to talk like men. So when I speak to him now, for instance, you know, I speak to him like a man. I don't speak to him as a child. I speak to him as a man because he is a man now. And he has to understand the strength and the sense of urgency in the way that I speak. Because if I make it soft for him, nobody else is going to be making it soft for him. He's a grown adult, so I have to communicate with him as an adult. But now you're communicating with an adult that's telling you that you're not doing enough for them. And in terms of talking about how much you've hurt me, when I see it as, hold on 1 second. Text messages showed him calling her mother disrespectful names.
Yeah.
All right. So let's take all the ex-husbands.
Yes, let's be honest
in the world. Let's take all the ex-husbands in the world. Okay, and let's see what percentage of them would have some nasty names for their ex-wife. I mean, really.
Yes.
Really.
I mean, have I?
And here's the craziest thing about it is he helped create who she is.
Right. I mean,
he created a whole other lane for her. He created a lane for her. He did not become rich off of her back. He always put her in front. Even when they were no longer together, he still allowed her the opportunity to grow. So when someone feels this way, we could try and say that it's senility. We can try and say that it's just the person's being honorary because they're old as hell or something.
Mm-hmm.
We can say that. I put the link in 3 times. Here, I put it up again. So this is not just something that's random. This is a man that's pretty much retired.
Right.
And he feels this way about his ex-wife. Is it right? Is it wrong? It's how he feels. Something led him to feel in that way.
Right.
That's I hear that from women a lot, where they say, well, it's not whether or not it was his intent or what happened. You know, where they say impact trumps intent. Well, no, I'm entitled to feel the way that I want to feel. Why does he believe?
That again. Kimberly
Say
Black
it again.
Put the link back in the chat. Kimberly Black said
I did.
Okay.
It's in there. I just put it in. It's right below her message.
Okay. Well, do we? Let's be honest and tell the truth. Have I said something about my ex-husband to my kids? You damn right I have. And when I said it, they was grown. And I feel like as the kids are grown, I'm gonna say grown people sees. Okay, it ain't right. Is it right that I said something rude about my ex-husband? He don't say something rude about me too. Okay, but at the same time, it happens. It happens when you have a contentious divorce. It happens when people get divorced. They might not like each other. It is what it is. But is it right? No. But it happens. I'm just saying.
Happens.
It happens.
Absolutely. What up, TC?
Hey, how are you? Hey, Chef Just Andrea.
Hey.
How you feeling?
Hey, I'm great. Hello to Raw. But is Raw still up here?
No, she left.
She was driving, so I think she handed off to different towers. All right. And we have someone else that jumped in too.
Okay.
Welcome, Kimberly Black. I see. She got that hair on fleek right there. Welcome to the party, Kimberly Black. If you see I was going at you, don't take it personally. This is what we do. We have these conversations. But welcome to the party. Welcome to the garden. You got your spot here now, so you better come back.
No problem.
Tell us who you are. Are you a friend of Andrea's?
I absolutely am.
Yes.
Oh, don't say that. Now I got to drop you. Talk to me.
Hey, Kimberly.
Hey, Ra. How you doing, sweetheart?
No, this is
that's
TC.
TC. Okay, TC. How you doing, sweetheart?
Okay. Even though Raw, that's a compliment. Thank you. That's a definite compliment.
So before you continue, since you kind of new here, right? The whole point of this stream, Kimberly, I want you to understand is that let's call that a thumbnail, a little clickbait, not really clickbait, but it's to create the discussion. We don't want to be in an echo chamber over here. So I definitely appreciate you and Raw giving the other side, because I think, there's your opinion, our opinion, and then there's the truth, and allowing people to chew the meat and spit out the bone is going to be good for the conversation. You follow? So,
absolutely.
So don't worry, your disagreement, I was like, good, somebody popping back. So go ahead, do your thing. Let these folks know what makes you a special, unique soul in this universe before you kick off. If you have a channel as well, please share that.
So is my mic sounding okay?
Yes, you sound good.
Perfect. So I understand the whole stock market situation, and there's liquidation of funds, and they both have wealth. I think she's equally as wealthy and has contributed to their marital status as well as their financial status. I'm sure they both have probably made some poor decisions as far as finances, as well as made some positive, because I was definitely a fat girl or whatever. I can't even remember the line of clothing, but I wore it. Trust me, I was in that era when their clothing line was popping. And so I just feel like, parents, whether your children are adults or they're still minors, whether you're separated or you're still together, there still needs to be a level of respect that needs to happen. No, I know I'm in an ideal situation. That doesn't always happen. That doesn't always happen. But I just think he showed his hand by calling his his ex-wife those derogatory terms to his adult children, and I think they're wonderful. They're still flourishing in spite of their circumstances. Both of them just graduated from college early, which I think is remarkable if you consider the fact that they both have probably seen a lot of things, like normal people. They've seen their parents marry different people, deal with different people, have highs as far as finances and now lows in finances, but it's bubbling to the surface now, and I just think it's unfortunate when you see any parent, I don't care if it was him or if it was her, saying negative things, I'm not negative things, but when you use certain words to describe your ex-partner, to me, that reflects more about you than it does them. That's just my point of view. It doesn't look good on his part to say those things about his ex-wife to his child, his adult child, minor child. That just doesn't sit well with me. That doesn't sit well at all. And his daughter, what I seen in the Texas, she was respectfully saying, I can't deal with you, Dad. I love you, but you're making my anxiety high. I can't, and every time I call you, you're saying things. We're not having a dialogue about us, me and you. Let's do this. You're talking about what my mom has done, and I don't have anything to do with y'all's finances. I don't have anything to do with what happened, or none of that. And so I think it's not fair to put your children in that situation, to have to be a pawn in y'all's adult games. I just don't think that's fair. I don't think that's fair. And it looks like the young lady was, is finally standing up for herself. And I know there's no perfect people. I feel like Russell has he's got a lot of things probably in his past that he's trying to deal with. Because I mean, he fled to Bali for not more than one reason, not because of his finances, but they were on him too about some other sexual innuendos in the past. And I don't know if that's a part of it, the reason why he's over there as well. But why are you running? That's my question. You running for finances, or you running from the laws because you've done some you've had some deviant behavior
during that Me Too movement.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
question for you. My
Sure.
question is this: how does that impact this? Is my question, because I understand what you're saying about, you were talking about potential devious behavior and things that were alleged, right? And him going to Bali. But how does that play a part in terms of his relationship with his daughter and how he's communicating with her and the situation? Because remember, he alleged she funneled 4 million shares of Celsius.
Mm-hmm.
Celsius was cheap back then. Celsius now is at 100. Celsius is $141 a share now. So you multiply that by 4 million. Could you imagine?
Of
Just
course
by
not.
4.
Of course not. I've never had a million of anything. I ain't had a million marbles. What are you talking about?
4 million. So
yeah, I mean, again, that's an extra number. That's an extremely large amount of money to lose. And I understand that he is feeling some kind of, he's hurt because that's, that was probably his retirement, his daughter's retirement, their family wealth. And if it's alleged that he is lost because behind another man, that can even compound it even more so. I get all of that anger and frustration, but you can't misdirect that anger. You can't misdirect that frustration. It needs to go to the people that it needs to go to. Those two girls have absolutely nothing to do with if the money was stolen, laundered, given to another man, and he laundered it and stole it. Those two young ladies have absolutely nothing to do with that money. So why
you're
would
saying
she
that she wasn't, oh, sorry. She wasn't asking for it? Because why would she mention about her being in Greece and not having the money? And why would he be telling her I'm broke? Right? Why would he be telling her I'm broke? All right.
Right.
And not only that, just think about the number. 4 million shares at $141 a share is $564 million.
It was 3.3 million.
Say that again.
It was 3.3 million shares.
I'm literally looking at it where it says 4 million. What was your source?
I'm pulling it up for you right now, and
All
I share the stream. I share the screen in the back because I'm gonna show you these text messages. We're gonna be true.
Yeah, I mean, you're correlating money with a relationship with your children, and of course, if your adult children, asked you, hey, I need XYZ. Can mom, dad? First of all, you have to realize what type of lifestyle that they have made those kids accustomed to. They're not children like yours and mine might have been. They've had the best of the best since their birth. So they don't have the same value of money that maybe my child has. You know what I'm saying? Because they didn't have to work at a McDonald's at 16. They were working in Europe on a runway at 16. You see what I'm saying? So their value of money is skewed differently than a regular lay person's would be. So of course you may ask, oh, Dad, hey, my tuition is, or can you give me an Uber or to XYZ? They don't have that same premise that
Okay, so now their value, now their his value. He's saying I don't have no money. He's saying I don't have no money. So they're gonna have to either adjust or they're gonna have to either get a job now.
Yeah.
Because he ain't got no money.
Yeah, well, I understand it, and I don't have a problem with him saying I don't have the money anymore. I lost the money. I don't have it. I don't have that. We can't do that lifestyle anymore. It was the okay. I didn't hear any voice to this video. I don't think anybody did.
No, it's been muted.
Yeah, it was muted. So
it was muted because when you record FaceTime video does not record audio.
Right.
And it's probably a good thing because his facial expression said a lot. You know, to me,
That's I would say that's not unusual. I have heard me and my daddy go round and round over a situation. So that don't bother me. It doesn't bother me because I am grown and my daddy is grown, and my daddy can say how he feels, and I can say how I feel now.
Yeah.
Well, Chef, if you want to share the screen, I pulled up the text messages.
Oh, okay. Because I have the link you put in the back chat as well.
Mm-hmm.
And it was 3.3 million, right?
That's what he was ordered to forfeit. Yeah.
Right. So he had to. So remember, he forfeited $43.7 million, right, in cash, as well as all 3.3 million shares in fitness drink company Celsius Holdings.
Right, but
where did those shares come from?
This is the thing. First of all, those shares was in Kimora's name, if you read through the article. And a lot of shares, if people feel that they have a claim to, they are allowed to petition to the court. But this was meted out on March 4th of 2023. When Russell Simmons lost that case in court, it was November of 2022.
Correct.
So no matter whatever he thought or his assumption was, he was incorrect. Those were not his shares.
You see, so you ever heard of men putting money in their ladies' hand? I'm gonna tell you a story. There was one year I made a lot of money at the casino. You know, when it was time, and then so I owed some money in taxes. Next thing you know, I hit a scratch off for $15,000. What did I do? I gave it to my lady. I gave the ticket to my lady and let her cash it, right? Because at that time, at that quarter, I was not ready to give them that money at that point. So I said, you hold this. And she held it. It was in her property. It was in her name. Kimora has also helped shelter Russell's money. What he did was almost created sort of a trust within him and her. That's why they were still in cahoots, even when she's with somebody else. Okay? So when you say it was her money, we know it was not her money. It was in her name. How could imagine this, bro? You my ex-wife, okay? And you got a new dude, and then you got a new husband or partner, and then you go and get another husband, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I'm calling you a thief. And all of a sudden, I'm just throwing these things. Do you really believe that it's baseless? Or do you not believe that she actually embezzled that those shares were shares that he had? He was the money man.
All I know is I don't have to go and believe, right? The company opened in April of 2004. They divorced in January of 2009. When couples divorce, they split up the equity and the assets. If he tried to evade a system by putting something in her name, then that's on him. Unclean hands doctrine. He was trying to avoid paying a bill, and he got stuck in the end. You do dirt, you get dirt. That's real truth and balance for you.
So here's one thing I want to do, because I do notice this, right? I knew it was going to happen. That's why when I saw Kimberly's first message, I was like, got one, right? It's if you notice the title of this show is You Dirty Thief, right? We're talking about something that she did. But like what happens a lot of time with our wonderful sisters is that when we hold you accountable for something you did, you bring up something that you may feel we owe you, or you embellish or pedestalize, you know, the gift of your presence, and I gave you 2 kids and all of these different things. How does one thing, if she stole, how does that get negated by the fact of him talking to his children? I'm trying to figure out how the two
Because
equate.
this is the thing. The premise that you're trying to put up is that he gave her money, she stole the money from him. What I'm saying to you is, in a court of law, in a sequence of events, if the stock was purchased within the first 5 years of the company being open before their divorce, and that asset was placed in her name, it's her asset. He didn't request it in the divorce. He didn't request it any time between 2009 up until 2018, which shows jealousy and entitlement on his end. Because if we go from what is on record, he hasn't said anything on record. But what Kimora said is that they've helped him through several failing businesses and what have you. What I do know, as a matter of fact, for the record, is that when he took this case to the Los Angeles Superior Courts and he tried to push this allegation and show that she was a thief, he lost. And he lost so much so that he had to pay punitive damage and attorney fees in restitution, which means not only was she found to be completely innocent of the accusations that he made, the accusations that he made and the way he went about making those accusations was so egregious that the judge decided to punish him severely, so he never did that again. And he was only given 30 days to pay that up, which means he's not really that broke, because I don't know about you, I can't pay someone $100,000 in 30 days, but I bet you he did.
Listen, when you had the amount of money that Russell Simmons had, having $5 million hold on one second. I'm talking about when you've earned the amount of money that Russell Simmons has earned and the type of life that he's lived, right, at multiple points in his life, him having only $5 million is broke.
He doesn't have $5 million. His net worth as of today is $340 million.
Listen, you know that's negligible, right? Because there's multiple places where you can look to see what the net worth is, because the net worth is based more on an algorithm of potential. There's some places that have him less than 340. His wealth is taking a significant drop, all right? But that 3.3 million, I want to ask you, honestly, I'm not talking about the court or anything, okay? Because we understand the courts may make certain decisions, and just because a judge brings the gavel down, it doesn't mean that that makes it fact. It makes it what he believes. So when you say you don't deal with belief, that is belief, because that evidence and information was provided to a human being that happens to have a robe on. So that was the judge's belief. So my question to you is this: do you believe that all of those 3.3 million shares belong to Kimora? That's my question.
It doesn't matter what I believe. What I know is all 3.3 of those shares were in Kimora Lee Simmons' name, and possession is 9/10 of the law.
Well, maybe he thought that she was going.
I see what you're doing. You see, you're dancing right now. You're dancing,
and very well.
It's not what you believe; it's what you can prove. You remember that? You remember that?
Exactly. It's not what you know; it's what you can prove. What you can prove is that it's her name. Those are hers.
Okay, but maybe he felt like he left the shares in her name because that was his ex-wife, and then she wasn't gonna go ahead and liquidate for her new man. I'm just saying, when you're in business with your ex-husband, me and my ex-husband had money. We still when we was divorced, when we didn't touch it, it was still in both of our names. So I'm thinking I think it's the audacity. That's what I have a problem with. It's the audacity of Kimora Simmons thinking it was okay to liquidate that money for her new husband.
They are.
And
Their
it got
taste butter
forfeited.
crunch cookies.
And it got forfeited.
It got forfeited for the bail. I mean, this is the thing. Like at the end of the day, I don't know about y'all, but I view marriage and relationships a little bit differently. When the marriage is over, if you have to go through the process of divorce, you liquidate all assets. You go your way and I go mine. We don't got no business together no more. Because if we had business together, then we would have stayed married. So that's a word to the wise and a lesson for everybody in the viewing audience and anybody in the worldwide stage that's watching this story. If you believe Russell
Basically, she's
Simmons'
saying don't
side,
trust your ex.
right,
Don't
male
trust
or
your ex.
female,
Don't trust the
male or
mother of your
female,
children.
don't trust the father of your kids as well. Either way it go. If it's over, it's over. Take your money, take your basketball, and go home.
So pretty much, you know what's so funny about it? What
Don't trust
I
a
do
man.
like
Don't
about
trust a black man that divest from his community because he's a ding dong dilly for thinking that somebody wasn't gonna get him. He just got. She got him, and there it is. And I don't have no problem with her. She got him. Okay. Oh, because I want to marry somebody outside of the race. There you go. All right, and there you have it.
And my problem with Russell Simmons is he started dating this woman and married her when she was a teenager.
And her mother signed
Ooh.
for it.
But I don't care. I don't care if her mother signed
No,
for
that's
it.
not. No,
What
you don't
is
do that.
If you're gonna if we're gonna keep it 100, her mother should protect her too. Let's be fair on this.
but right,
That's a
but we're
different
not
culture. That's a
but we're
different
not
culture.
not
You
even
know
that
what? I
that's a
get it.
different
He
culture.
couldn't do it to a black woman because he was certainly dating. Trust me, he was dating a plethora of them. But they found out his tomfoolery and they wasn't going with it. Trust me,
No, that's not the point that I was making. The point that I was
I know.
making is he married her at 15 years old, regardless to who signed off on it. He has
You said
a
15?
propensity to, yeah, it was
Yes,
15. Yeah.
yes,
He has a propensity to put himself in
yeah.
inappropriate situations. There are multiple
Ooh,
allegations of inappropriate SA conduct throughout the latter part of his career, but he groomed this woman. He was 35, she was 15. There's a 20 years age gap. He tried to manipulate her and create situations in which she felt powerless. And I'm sorry, sometimes the mouse actually does get the cheese. And in this instance, the mouse did. But he further
thank you.
perpetuated his negligible behavior and attitude upon his children. And that's why I
Children.
want you to share the screen with the text messages. I don't give a
Yeah.
damn nothing about what was happening between the two of them. And I may have been a little bit more empathetic towards him if not for these text messages. Now, in this first text message that Aoki posted to her Instagram story, she texts her father, "Just why? I'm out here praying for you and hoping everything goes well. And you call my mom a piece of crap. Neutral my behind. I don't even appear in your media. And your mother has stolen my money and the love of my kids as she promised. She actually is." And she says to him, "You will never speak to me again. I'll never speak to you until you die. Don't ever say that again. She did not steal it. You lost it." And he didn't even acknowledge the fact of her not wanting him to talk about her mother that way. What did he say? She's a piece of crap. She's a piece of crap. And the bottom portion that's behind us is understand you lost it with your actions. But moving right along, move forward to the next screen. Hold on, let me fast forward it through. Because this is from my show, so you good. Ain't nobody gonna flag you. This one is on Father's Day. Even though they're going through, she still texts him, "Happy Father's Day. It was nice you were here last year for it." Because he's in Bali now. But have a great day, Dad. I love you. I hope this is the right day in Bali. And he just put, "I love you." She further sends him another text message. "Dad, I stopped talking to you because you were giving me panic attacks. To the point, I was placed on emergency medication every time we spoke. I cannot have a relationship with you until that stops."
What's emergency medication? Just
Like
for the people.
Valium.
She on some medication because he giving her the anxiety. Okay.
You probably Valium. "I cannot have a relationship with you until that stops."
No one stops me from talking to you. My health does. I have to put that first. Every time I spoke to you, you would yell and scream about a legal situation that I can't even respond to because I am not involved. I am your child, not your lawyer, your ex wife, any of it. I can do nothing, yet you yell at me like it's my fault. You were putting so much anger and rage on me every phone call, cursing, screaming, and God knows what else. I'm sorry, but I cannot be the target of that. It's not fair. It got to the point I could not hear your voice without having an anxiety attack. You have to at least respect that I'm putting my health and well being first, which he did not. Because then we have this text message, and you can see up top that it says daddy. And she says, and gave me a panic attack. Don't make me regret introducing him to you. And he says, I'm literally broke. And she was like, okay, cool. I'm going to block you. I don't want to talk about it. She didn't want no money from him. She just didn't want to talk about him being broke no more. Certainly, don't text my boyfriend because I respectfully took some space. I try not to block you because what if it's an emergency and you're my dad? So, fuck Russell Simmons at the end of the day. Because at the very end of the day, his daughter is asking him, listen, dad, don't talk to me about your lawsuit, whatever you and mom got going on. Y'all handle that. I don't got nothing to do with it. I'm just trying to be your daughter. You don't got no money? Oh, all right, cool. I just need a little space. I got to take Valium now. I got to go to therapy now. You don't got it for the therapy. You not helping me. I'm going through. You going through. So since you can't control yourself as a man, as my father, as a leader, as a mogul, as a businessman, as a CEO,
Protect
give
her.
me some space. And he is over there literally texting her boyfriend, literally texting her college friends. And in one of her videos, she said this Negro even said that he had COVID just so that they would pick up the phone so he could tell her that her mother is a piece of shit.
Now I'm not saying that's all right. I'm saying that's wrong. It is. But do I understand? Yes, I do. Does it have it happen? Yes, I do. In my own life, it happens. So I'm not justifying what he's doing, but that shit does happen. And when you get divorced and when you feel like somebody stole your fucking money, he obviously feels like his ex-wife stole his money, and that shit is bringing in his brain that he really thinks she stole his money.
Guess what?
Andrea,
If me and my ex-husband have a falling out and I
Yes.
feel some type of way about anything he got going on, the way I'm raised, my kids ain't never gonna know about it. You know why?
Never.
Because it's inappropriate. It is completely inappropriate to taint the way a child looks at their other parent. I don't put up with that bullshit from women that do that shit, running around telling their kids their father is a piece of shit. And I for damn sure don't put up with that bullshit from no men. When my father died, before my father died, he wrote me a letter. You know what my father said in that letter? Listen to your mother. And him and my mother went through it. But he made sure his last words to me on wax, listen to your mother. Fuck this nigga.
I did not say it was right, but I understand have it happened in my own family. Yes. So it's not that far fetched. It does happen. So let's be honest and tell the truth. That shit does happen in people's families. It does happen when you get divorced. Okay. And my kids are grown. And I'm gonna say what the fuck I want to say about their damn father. That's my given right. I was married to him. That's how I fucking feel.
Say it to your friends, sis. Say it to your friends. Don't say it to your kids.
They grown. They understand relationship now. It was different if they was 5 and 6. They 25 and 26. So they've been through some shit. So they understand relationships now. So
I have a friend.
How I feel about their damn daddy, and he can say what the hell he feel about me.
Let me tell you what it does to grown kids. One of my friends right now, their parents been together 54 years.
Okay.
Right? Recently they separated. They're working on getting a divorce. Both his parents feel like the kids is grown. They could say whatever to these kids. This man right now hates both his parents. He don't fuck with neither one of them. So you can do whatever you want to do because you're an adult. But I'm gonna tell you, at your own risk and at your own peril. Because what you really wind up doing is making kids not respect you, making kids feel like you lied to them, making kids feel like you don't got no respect for them or their feelings, and you taint their image, which then makes them hate you more. Because then they wind up questioning their whole existence. I'm just saying.
I feel like they're not. My kids are balanced, but because me and their dad have we can say how we feel about each other. Ain't no love lost, ain't no madness. We just gonna say how we feel. And this is the thing. When I got grown, and when I was at my parents' house, I could tell my daddy how I really fucking feel. And I'm glad that we have a different relationship now, because when I was his child and living under his roof, I can't really tell how I really feel about him. But now I'm grown and pay my own bills, I can say how I feel. And my kids doesn't feel like, oh, I'm bashing their daddy. This is how I feel. And this is how we talk. And it's not nothing wrong. And we ain't bashing each other. I'm just gonna say how we feel. Today he's an asshole.
But Andrea, that's a totally different scenario though.
What'd you say?
That's a totally different scenario. You're talking about you and your father. That's a different scenario than you and talking to your children about their father.
And they're
right. That's a whole different.
And you're divorced. It's different. It's different.
They ain't 10 and 11. They 25 and 24. So
but it doesn't matter. You still, as a parent, there's still a particular amount of decorum that has to be, and I don't want to say boundaries, but a particular amount of decorum that has to be set, even when you're talking to your children. And I'm gonna be honest with you. If I get out of order at this age, Andrea, my mother will tell me what she'll get right in my world. She'll get right in my world. Definitely. And don't do it, because you don't want your children to get out of order with you. Don't get too familiar, because familiarity breeds contempt. Don't do that. And that's about their father. I can understand. I can understand if you said, Andrea, I can understand if you said some things, but to say your daddy is crap, you look just like him, y'all act just alike. These are very malicious and malign things. What Russell said was out of order. It is out of order for him to say that about his ex-wife.
But it does happen.
Daughters.
And I'm telling you again, it does happen. And what I'm saying,
I am not saying that it doesn't. It is wrong. Do or doesn't. It is wrong.
So I will say this. I'm going to say this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm able to take, to be tempered by certain information, right? Or certain things. So one piece that I could definitely acquiesce to is this. Those two girls they're not tough. They didn't get it out the mud like their mom did. The mom gave Kimora gave Aoki a story talking about how she had to go to a casting call for modeling in France, and she was barefoot. She didn't have no shoes. She had no shoes on, trying to get a gig. And what she was telling her is, no, you're not going to be going to Fashion Week because you don't have money, right? So I can understand those girls are not tough nuts, and they didn't get it out the mud. So honestly, that level of communication, he could have gave it to Kimora. I wouldn't have given it. I wouldn't have talked like that. I wouldn't have talked like that about my the mother of my child to my child. However, what I can say is that level of rage, my 16-year-old daughter, there's certain things, I may have been annoyed about, my ex, but I would not share it with her. I would not share. If I had any issue with my ex, I would not share it with my daughter. Not at all. So I can definitely acquiesce to it. However, there's been times that I was really pissed about something with my ex, but I never told my child about it. But also, it didn't involve a lot of money. It didn't involve that much money. You get what I'm saying? So I can understand his rage, and his rage is something that needs to be controlled without question. Who knows? Maybe he's an honorary old man at this point.
He's
You know,
100
and
years old.
he's 65.
He's
You know what I'm
100 years
saying?
old.
You know,
He's
it's. I believe there's something there, and I know there's something there because everything is a deflection. She's Kimora has spoken less about the money and about the case, but what she's done now is start bringing up her age when he started dealing with it. Why would she even bring that up as a part of the narrative? That's pretty interesting. Why would she even bring that up as a part of the narrative? Because if at the same time you're stating you're representing this man as a predator, right? And they remember it wasn't 15 he married her. They started dating at 16. It was dating at
Yeah.
16. All right. But here's the
Imagine
thing.
your. Go ahead.
But I mean, I'm not listen. What I can tell you is this.
He was 30. He was
We
he was
gonna
over
use
30.
we
He
gonna hold
wasn't
on a second.
another he wasn't another
Let's use the same
16-year-old.
hold on a second though. You gotta let me let's use the same strategy
I know, but you
that
started
no, hold on.
you
Let
started
me
with
say
that.
No,
this.
no, let him. No,
You
let him
gotta let me
finish.
land
Let
this.
him get
I'm
his point
addressing
out.
something that Robbie was saying. I want to use the same level of jurisprudence as Black Dahlia did, right? Which is,
Yes.
well, it was legal, right? Didn't you say that? He was like, well, she won, right? It was he put it in her name, so it was hers, right? So
Mm-hmm.
it was legal, right? Was it illegal that wedding? It was not
It
illegal.
wasn't. It was not. The wedding was not illegal. However, him dating her when she was 15 years old was.
Him,
Yeah, but her mother
you
signed.
know. So now you would have to prove that they had sexual intercourse, right? Or is that you're just assuming that? You see what I'm
No,
saying?
I'm not even. It's not. I'm not even talking about if they had sexual intercourse. Him touching her is actually SA, especially because she's an underage minor with the inability to consent.
Mm. So you're assuming he was touching her.
Nope, there's photograph evidence. There's photo. I have the
Now,
ocular
when you
proof.
say touching her, you mean like arm around her?
Like hand in the middle of the small of her back, like draped arms over her, like kissing on her. Yeah, there's photographic evidence of that. And video too.
All of this is a deflection, Ron.
All I'm
It's a
saying is
deflection.
this. All I'm
All of this
saying is
is a
this.
You asked the
deflection.
question though, Chef. No, you asked. You said,
No,
I
no,
wanted
no.
to
I
talk
did
about
ask the
something. You
question. I
wanted to
asked the
go in
question,
and
but she
talk
said
about
no.
what Raw was talking
Yeah,
about. Now
but
you
she didn't
got
answer the
it, bro.
question. She already answered the
She
question. All I
answered the
needed was
question.
hold on. The question
It is
was it
illegal.
legal or illegal? That was the
You asked
question.
what kind of touching. You asked what kind was it sexual intercourse? Can you prove it? You asked were there any. She said she has pictures. You asked the question. She
Right.
was not deflecting.
She answered
You
what kind of
started it.
touching. Right. Was
I
that
wanted.
sexual touching? The point is, listen, here's the point.
It
The
is
point is,
sexual touching.
It
all of
is.
this,
It is. It
all
is.
of this
It is.
is a
When you're
deflection.
15, come on now.
All of this is a deflection.
But he had to.
Well, I tell you what.
He had to get the signature
He
from her
says, he
parents.
says you stole my money, and she says you're a child predator.
No, that's not exactly how that went.
Come on, everything. If you pay close attention to everything, it's all being lumped in at one point.
Right. It is being
What
lumped in together, but the order of events is thus, right? They've been going through this legal battle. She wins the legal battle. He's still mad that he didn't win. He still feels a type of way that he didn't win.
You know
He
what?
then takes that anger out on the children. Now, in her IG posting, she said, "Leave us alone. All I'm asking you to do is leave us alone, because you know I like a good old nasty piece of receipt. Now, what nobody noticed, but I did, Aoki stopped posting. She switched up her posting to Juneteenth and her being out in the city. And then Kimora took over. Mama Bear took over the scene. Kimora has been posting nothing but her and her daughters in various stages throughout the past few years without Russell present. You got to be watching close. You got to pay attention, pay attention, pay attention. Okay? Ming ain't posting nothing but happy Juneteenth, baby. And Russell is over there posting. Now he's trying to backpedal and pussy pop, posting up their modeling stuff and whatever like that. You haven't had them posted. And you weren't there at their graduations, but you intimated to social media as if you were. You intimated that you were at Ming's graduation. You intimated that you were at Aoki's graduation. You weren't there, according to Kimora Lee. So now you're posting them in your stories and everything else, but you were just raging out on your daughter, talking about she's not on your social media. You're the parent. Parents post their children on social media. It's a rarity, unless it's a special occasion or unless the parent is there physically available, that they get posted into the social media, even though Aoki did show several times where she's posted her father. So now he probably called. He was in Aoki's IG live, harassing her. She crying to her fans, you know what I'm saying, doing what little kids do on social media. He in there. People in the comments is telling, why is he here? Why is he here? Get up out of here. So you can't even leave people alone when you about to be exposed for the acting the fool fucking nigga that you've been acting for the past couple of years. Now they pouring it all out.
Interesting.
Last couple of years, boy. Let's go back.
Look, Chef said stop trying to steal my show.
We need to go
No,
back.
it's not even that. It's all a deflection.
We need to
That's
go back
not
to
what this is
Farmers
about. This
Boulevard.
is
Let's
about
go
her
back to
stealing
that.
that money.
We can go back
This
to
is
Holly
about her
Queen.
stealing
Let's
that
go back to
money.
that.
Well, you know what?
Stealing that
It's the
money.
same
That's what
narrative.
happens when you talk to
Trust
women,
me.
or when you talk. Watch this. I'm piss y'all off. When you talk to your sisters about this and holding you accountable, or what you did here, you want to talk about what happened over there and what happened over there. Let's talk about those 3.3 million shares. 3.3 million shares of Celsius Holdings at this point is worth 400. Let me see that. $465,300,000. That's what those 3.3 million shares are worth right now. She effed up the bag. Okay, that was money that him and her had looped in. It was part of the business trust, and she went and took the money out to go pay for this dude, and it was gone.
You can't take money out of a trust like that. It doesn't work like that.
I didn't say it was a
trust doesn't work like that. Trustees, and especially a certain amount of money, it doesn't work like that. A certain amount is a process.
You don't got to teach me what I know. I use trust as a term. I use trust.
You don't have to teach me what I know, because I use trust all the time because we have them in my family. I get it.
That's not the point. That's not the point.
It's a process. I can't take out a certain amount of money unless I get my other trustees. Okay, no,
you're missing the point.
No,
so you saying none of that money was theirs together
because he's bitter and he did not and he got. That's just that. He didn't follow the process, and he don't like it because he didn't follow the process.
Thank you. You're proving my point. That's the whole point. She's a thief.
No, he didn't follow the process.
He got got.
No,
so
he got because he did not follow the rules.
You gotta let her defend herself, bro. What's up? You said that he got. What does that mean? When somebody
I just told you. He did not follow the process of the trust, because you have to do certain things in order to get a certain amount of money out of a trust. You have to go through you have to even get a vote, a certain amount of votes. And if you don't get that, you don't get it. He did not do it right. He went about it incorrectly. And this is what has happened. He was not mentally, he's not even, that's right. It doesn't, right.
So that means if he got, that means somebody got him.
That's not what it means. Like, I just told you what it means. He went about it incorrectly, and he did it wrong, and he did not follow the process and procedure of a trust. Period.
Excuse me.
He's not the only one that deals with trust. And you and anybody else is wrong. And we all deal with it. We all deal with trust. We know.
Excuse me. In the article that speaks to the judgment, it does reference the allegation was 4 million shares. It also does reference that Russell Simmons quit his job as a managing director of New Horizons, which made it so that Kimora didn't have to inform him of her decision of what to do with the shares. So he quit on the business. He felt it was a loser and he quit. I'll share that screen with you guys because I don't
That's
mind.
actually not what happened. That's not what
What do you
happened.
mean?
He did not quit because he thought it was a loser. That's not what happened. You know that it was. We talked about it. We said
I'm
it
sorry.
earlier.
This is
Hold on
from
1 second. Hold on. What do rich men do when they know stuff is about to come down the pike? Put the stuff in their wife's name or put their stuff in their mother's name. He
No, they
sheltered
sell
the
it.
money. That's
no, it
what
was
he
a
did. Come on, man.
no, it was a
It's just like listen.
collaboration.
It's just like
Okay.
hood. It's just like listen. It's just like the hood dudes that may have 50 grand sitting in some sneaker boxes, and then something's about to go down. They might have to go up. They might have to go do some time, and they go put it at their baby mama's house. Okay. He was sheltering the bread, and you know that he was sheltering the bread.
You gonna compare a drug deal going down to a trust and a
I
process and a
didn't say it's
procedure
not a
when they
trust,
trust
man.
for
You keep
you?
saying that it's not a trust. It was a business that they were in. I just told you that I used the word trust lightly. It was not a trust. It was a business entity that they had. Stop saying it was a
They
trust.
had an
It was a
investment
business
company.
entity. And what
If
he
it's an
did,
investment
when things,
company,
hold on, what you
chef,
do is when you
then if there's
sheltering
an
them.
if there is an investment company, there's still a process and a protocol,
I don't
and
know
there's
what
still
you. I
laws,
don't
there's
think you
still
you
rules.
right now.
And
You're talking in circles. There's a process and a protocol. I think you're missing the beat. But you got to listen so that you could catch the beat.
I think
They
okay,
were
go
in
ahead.
a. They had a company together. That company was still together. They were partners in that company after they were no longer married. All right.
Right.
So when I
Right.
said as a trust, I said it because at some point in the future it would benefit their children. So they continued that together. All right. I'm not talking about a freaking legal trust, all right, or a living trust. It was just a term. I don't want you to get hung up on that term. The point is, when when the feds are starting to come in, it's time for taxes, or if you're going to get sued, when men are going to get sued, many times what they do is put business entities or remove themselves from being the principal of a particular business so that business remains intact if he gets sued, his pants suit off.
True.
Okay. He was sheltering the bread, and we know it. It's just like the hustler about to go to jail, and he put that 100 grand at his baby mama's closet, okay, to hold that down. The whole point is he removed himself, but that was still, he was a silent partner, is the point. And she went in and she took the money, and she used it for her own personal gains. And in the process, took a major loss because 3.3 million shares now today is $465.3 million, man. So we can't, we go ahead.
No, that's a lot of inferences, and I understand you feeling passionate about this topic. I get it.
No. I want to keep it
But
in the box because I could catch
I
what
know
y'all do.
we're gonna keep it in the box. The fact remains is they had an investment company together. He was the manager of the investment company. For all intents and purposes, he quit. He left. Now we can say that maybe he was being sued and maybe he was trying to shelter money, but the brass tacks of the situation is he quit and he left. Because what people with extreme wealth do when they know that they may be getting sued is they don't quit and they don't move themselves out of positions. They put that money into a trust. See, if it was about being sued, he would have sheltered the businesses and the trust and put them in one of those countries that is super hard to break trust, like Bali, where he lives at now. So we know that
Thank
he's
you.
smart enough to go to Bali so that he can't be extradited, but he wasn't smart enough to put his money in Bali so that it couldn't be touched. I think not. Russell Simmons is a very intelligent man, very much so.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly. That
so
proves my
when he
point.
wait, so when he decided to quit that company, he quit the company. She no longer had to go to him for the day-to-day operations of what was happening with the investment company. We don't know
So how
what
did
the
he know the
severance
shares were
package
missing? He was still involved with the company.
because he
How
was
did he
looking
know?
for them.
Remember, he stepped down from that position. Hold on. He stepped down from that position, but that did not mean that he did not still have an equity stake in that. He was a part of
Well,
that.
he
That
may have had
position.
a
Go ahead.
he may have had an equity stake. I will give you that. But the decisions on what to do, he didn't have a majority equity stake. And that was his first mistake because the majority equity is usually left for the board and the trustees. And they made the decision to use that money for the bond, which they is Kimora Lee. Now, how would he know about the stocks? Well, it was very public that he was putting up these stocks and bonds for his bail. It's not like it was a secret, it was a federal case. It's a federal case. It's been in the news for a very, very long time. We're talking about a scandal that involves a multi-billion-dollar fraud initiative, including Goldman Sachs. Are you serious? Every moment of this was prime time on Financial Circus and people that pay attention to money. So of course he knew, but at the end of the day, it's not even about what you know or what you can prove. At the end of the day, he left. He lost his right to make decisions because he left. He took the coward's way out and he left the company. If this
That's
is a
not
joint
that's
venture, nah, nah, nah. Because if
you're
it's a joint
assuming.
venture,
You're just
it's
saying
if
that
it's
he
a
just
joint venture,
left. There was a
you can share the screen. I have documentation and reference materials.
we can share. I'm gonna share the screen, right?
Hmm
So this.
Why did he Why did he leave Raw?
It doesn't say why he left, so I'm not going to make any inferences because that's not
But you are making inferences
appropriate.
because you're saying he took the coward's way out. So you're calling him a coward, which means
I
you're
mean, you're
making your
calling
own
her a
inference.
thief. You're calling her a thief. The coward part is just to give you pushback on calling her a thief. If she's a thief, then he's a
Oh, tit
coward.
for tat.
But
Tit for tat.
yes, but if we're looking at it from an unbiased perspective, Simmons and the couple, which further gives evidence and credence to the statements that she made on her live, where she said that her and her husband were putting money into his businesses and keeping him afloat. They were, because him and the couple collaborated in an investment company called New Horizons Investment. So he wasn't even doing this one-on-one, him and Kimora, for the kids. He was messed up financially. As she stated, he needed assistance. They pulled him in on the deal. He left.
So he was broke or
He
not.
left.
You notice you talking two different sides. 1 minute you were saying that he's not broke. Now you're saying that he was broke. You got to
No, I
make
said
both of
his
them make sense.
businesses. See, you can play this with other people, but I know money. So just because your businesses are not doing well doesn't mean that personally you don't have money. Personally, you can have all the money in the world and declare full, flat out bankruptcy in your
Thank
businesses.
you.
So they helped him with his businesses, which is what Kimora said. And he left. Not only did they collaborate together, her and her husband gave him management position at New Horizons. Why? Probably because he has a good financial background with the Rush card. He quit in 2018. He quit, and she didn't have no duty to inform him about using them stocks as collateral for her husband's bond. It is what it is, kid. Even if we just say the three of them was together in a business, that's 33%, 33.3% per, which means that his little 33% was weak as hell because her and her husband had 66.66% of the business. They ain't had to tell him nothing. He shouldn't have left. He should have toughened up, but he couldn't take the fact that her husband was, a man of means and had access to big money. And at the time that he was laundering the multi-billion dollars from that Malaysian state fund, he probably was looking like Big Pimpin' spinning the cheese. You got this new dude, he bailing out my businesses, he giving me a job, he got money, y'all stunting like y'all got it for real, for real. And he probably was feeling less than with his ego. And he left. That's his loss.
So here's where you and I will differ, right? I totally understand what you're trying to say, but I will tell you this. They were still partners. He pulled back. There was a reason. Pay close attention to the time frame. Time means everything. Think about when some of those allegations started to happen.
Right.
So when I said he was sheltering it, he pulled back. He pulled back out of that business. You understand what I'm saying? She went and used those shares. All right. There's another piece. There's another piece to it.
Right, but I think it's even
There
deeper
was
than.
another reason that he pulled back as well.
But I don't even
And it
think
was
that
not to give up. Go ahead.
I don't even think that he pulled back because of the allegations against him.
But
I think he pulled.
here's the
Listen,
kicker. You're talking about running the business. We're talking about the equity and the assets that they owned. You understand?
but
So
what
it's
I'm
not about just the business.
so like
Him having a position, him stepping back from the position doesn't mean that he gave up his money and he gave up his piece of the company. She literally he's a shareholder in that business. That was just a position. So what he did was he fell back from being actually what's called a principal that can actually make decisions, a decision-making body within the company. But he still owned stake within that company.
So this is the point that I was
He left
making
her in
because
control, and she went and blew the bag.
So again, this is what I'm saying
Not
because you're not
majority.
trying to listen.
Not majority.
We don't even know what his stake actually was in the business. I mean, you real good at pulling up court documents. Pull up the court documentation from this case. Because at the end of the day, what I think happened is that he backed away because he probably got wind of the federal indictment that was about to come down on Timothy Lesnar. He left because of that.
Thank you. That's what
And
I look at the time
because
frame.
of his rape allegations, but at the end of the day, you're making
Yes.
so with
That's
both
the
those
point that I'm
listen to oh my
making.
God, Jesus Christ, Latter-day Saints and the Mormons. So with all of that going on, the cornerstone of this case that we are not privy to is what stake did he have, if any? Because if they were funding him, he could have just simply had a job, and as the manager, he would have had to know what was going on because he was managing the company. What if he didn't have any stake in the stocks, and that's why he was found to be egregiously wrong in this case in order to pay let me see, let me roll it back up, let me scroll it back on up, $100,773.37. In order to pay $119,000 to cover, or that was the court course that she sued him for, to cover the court costs that she spent preparing the motion. See, it's different when you go to court and the judge makes you pay the other person's legal fees. It's because you had no rights. You had no rights to waste the court's time. And I'm gonna rest.
If I put my money in my ex's name to help me out, just so I could be safe, where I sheltered my money in her care, if I tried to sue her, the court would laugh me out of there. Because in order for me, that's why in terms of the suit, quite honestly,
he wasn't going to win anyway.
He wasn't going to win anyway, because the whole purpose of him, in order for him to win, he would have had to say, I was literally acquiescing from the business to limit my exposure to a federal case, to limit my exposure and the exposure of any business that I have to this whole Me Too thing that's going on as well.
Right.
So all I'm saying is this: He's pissed. He's pissed because 3.3 million shares of an investment group he was a part of. When she says he quit, he did not stop being a member of that investment group. He did not they did not give him his amount of shares and told him to go. No, he was still part of the business. He just was not a principal. That would be the person that would be able to buy and sell stock. And that's the thing. There's always a person that the one that buys and sells the stock at a particular company, and they're on paper. So he took himself off of the paper, but he still owned assets within that group. And in him owning the assets within that group, they took 3.3 million shares of a company that's been having, stellar years, year after year after year, to the point where now that 3.3 million is worth 465 million. 465.3 at $141 stock price and some change. His rage, it's real. So when I hear people tell me, I don't want to belabor the conversation too much. You know what I mean? We've been on for a minute, but I will say this in terms of, we're gonna come back and we're gonna readdress this, and we're gonna come because there's gonna be more facts, there's gonna be more information that's released, there's gonna be more conversation that's released, and we want to double back on this topic because I will say this: that man's not mad for nothing. And whenever I put the conversation out about the fact that he got, some folks will acquiesce to it and say, well, yeah, he got. Well, he picked her up at a young age, or, well, that's what you get for messing with them over there. So that means he got. Even using the term got, we know what that means. When somebody got, it's not a good thing. They got taken advantage of. They got used. They got abused. They got robbed. They got, what is it? Hoodwink, bamboozled, run amok. They got. And I believe he got. Period. And he believes he got.
Well, that's his business,
courtroom,
I guess.
In the courtroom, he would never, because think about it. How you going to tell a judge, yeah, well, I did it to protect the assets? What you're doing is you're really telling them that you illegally removed yourself from being a part of a business that you're actually a part of, that's on documents. So he would have to admit other stuff in order for his case to really, really be successful. You know what I mean?
And guess what?
He would have got left. He got left out of court. Why? Because the judge, it doesn't mean he was a bad guy. What it means is the judge is like, yo, why are you wasting my time with this shit?
Nah, what that
You
means
left her
is
in control. You left her in control of the money. And that's all it is. He left her in control of the money. And the money was used. Okay, so watch this. Her and him, Tim and Kimora, they married. That's a union. So the couple, the convicted embezzler, money launderer, right? Who's in jail? Him and his wife, which are a union. They used it for their own personal means. And obviously,
it doesn't.
There's something there. You're saying it doesn't matter because, he left her in charge. I get it. I'm not talking about the legal. I'm literally, for me, I leave it on the moral aspect. And I can't be, when we talk about the moral aspect of it, when somebody comes to me and tells me about the way that person treats their children, that has nothing to do with the moral aspect of this particular issue over here. So we're talking about, did this person use the money or utilize something that was meant for the group for their own personal use? Did they? Yes. Absolutely. I'm telling you, there's something there. Russell is not bitching and moaning. Russell is not bitching and moaning about nothing.
Right.
It doesn't matter what he's bitching and moaning about. He's a sore loser. At the end of the day.
Okay, but he have lost in business before. He have lost in business before. He have lost money before. There's something to be said about the man who said the ex-wife stole his money. So
it's something to be said about a ninja that's bitter. About a ninja that's pissed off because his money not looking how he wanted to look, but her money looking good and she looking like a snack and he looking like a pack of goat yak throw up. Like, what is we talking about right now?
I can't say I believe the man.
And he takes it out on his children. And he takes it out on his children.
The man have lost the business, but he does feel like somebody in his circle that he helped build who she is stole his money. And it's not like he's saying it. He's been saying it. So obviously he feels in his heart that she stole his money.
Who give a crap what he feel? It's not about your feelings. F your feelings. Because at the end of the day, I'm going to tell you what.
Okay.
When you go in the court of law, they're going to tell you. And that's exactly what the judge told him. The judge was like, nah, get out of here with that. And he's appealing it right now. They still got appeals. It's on the docket for August 18th of 2023. They still appealing. He's appealing it. But he already lost. So he didn't even pay her the money that he was ordered because he's appealing it.
Because he feels like she stole his money.
But it doesn't matter if that's how he feels. He can feel however he wants to feel. If you were this is just a waste of money on his part.
But
it's a waste of money.
It's a waste of money according to you. But the principle for him is saying, I'm appeal this shit. I feel like she stole my money.
Okay, well, he could try it. He not gonna, I don't think he gonna win.
Well, he can.
He not finna win.
And he can tie this up how long he can too.
Right, but that's the thing. Just like with Tasha K, right? Tasha K thought she was gonna win too, because she felt like she was in it right. She felt like she just keep talking all the shit she wanted to talk, right?
If we gonna be in California, we're gonna have Andrea outside the courtroom. She's gonna be the courtroom correspondent. You know what I'm saying?
August 18th, 2023. Let me tell you what time.
Right.
It's at Department 50 at 111 North Street, Los Angeles, California 90012. It's a status conference. You know what a status conference is? A status conference is, did you pay this money?
111. All right.
111, right. Angel numbers. There's angels all around Kimora.
Yeah, that's they call that a habeas out here. But listen, y'all. This topic, I just want to say this topic is still burning up the streets. You get what I'm saying? And we all gonna have opinions about it. We're all gonna be impacted by the facts that we learn, and that's what's important. Today, what you heard was two differing, I won't say differing opinions, let's call it, because quite honestly, I got you. Got him. He just sprayed you. So what you had was different thought processes. Also, shout out to Kimberly Blake for jumping up, because what I was speaking to was specifically what took place with the money. All right. And that's the only thing that I was talking about. I should have been more careful, because I was actually planning a part 2. I have the thumbnail already with Russell calling it Bad Dad. But you guys kind of brought in the bad dad debate too. But I wanted to keep them in the vacuum, because what some people tend to do within some situations is weigh bad deeds against others instead of addressing each bad deed with its necessary vacuum. As it stands right now, I totally believe that she knew that what she did was wrong, and that she knew Russell would have a problem with it, and that she knew it went against whatever spoken handshake agreement that they had. I believe that. But I will say this. In terms of my wisdom, I always give myself the ability to have my opinion changed. Right? And the only thing is, all I need is fact that I could chew on that will make me change my opinion. But as it stands right now, even the ladies that were on the panel, some of the terms that they used gave me the impression that they also felt that she knew she was doing something that was not right. But she can do it, and he put her in that position.
Wait, hold
So
on.
when we get when we get more facts, I'm gonna come back. But go ahead.
So this is what I'm gonna say. I covered this with Thanos yesterday, so I think we should do a group simulcast. I'm about to put a link in the bag chat. This is where we can pull up all the documents, and we don't have to. It doesn't have to be conjecture. We can look at it straight from Los Angeles County Superior Courthouse.
Superior
All
Court.
right.
Okay.
So
got reparations. Got reparations at
let's-
Superior Court. That
So let's
and
do it.
and I want to know, how are we going to be impacted by this debacle, Chef? How are we impacted by it?
When you say how are we impacted by it, what do you mean?
Because you said when you was just speaking before, you said that this is information and we're all going to be impacted by it, and I just wanted to know how.
Oh, no. What I stated is that for me, more information can actually change my opinion. You understand? And when I say impacted, more information that you get will have an impact on you, like how you see it. I don't mean an impact like it's going to make you cry or give
An
you
economic
cancer.
crisis. Yeah.
Right. I'm not talking about that.
Well,
That
no, all right. Let me
impact.
find the thumbnail, because that was something totally different. I know what you meant when you said getting more information, all that good stuff. It was right before then. So I'll get the
No, I know what
time.
you're talking about in terms of the impact. That's what I basically was saying, is that there's going to be more information coming out. There's more information that's going to come out in terms of this. There's even the court case that's going to be in August. So what I stated is that as more information is released, it will have impacts on the people that had an opinion before. There was people that were all Russell in the beginning until they saw the text messages, and now they're F Russell, which means that information they got, that new information, impacted them. That's what I meant. The impact,
Listen,
the impact
yeah,
on the
that's
thought
how.
process, the impact on what you,
yeah.
That's how it was with Thanos last night. Thanos was like he was gonna keep an open mind and listen through. And I mean, we had, I don't know, we went over it for like 3 hours. We had a really deep conversation about the whole situation. But at the end of the day, the whole situation is a tragedy. And I get it. Like, I'm at this moment give you a caveat that, okay, maybe she got him for some bread or whatever. It still doesn't excuse him involving his children at all.
Yeah, I wasn't.
If he was having,
remember,
if he was having
I
this
wanted
level
no
of
parts of the children part.
right,
The
but if he
only-
was
go
having,
ahead.
because he wasn't having this level of conversation with her alone, I'll say. He was having this level of conversation with her, with the children, with the boyfriend, with the children's friends. So while everybody's mad at Aoki for putting certain things on social media, he was telling her friends so certain things. He was making her environment uncomfortable. He was in fact triangulating her, which is a narcissistic personality disorder trait. Oops. We ain't gonna talk about the mental health issues in the community.
Y'all triangulating right now, because remember, all I wanted to talk about was the money and the facts related to the money. And the sleight of hand that some folks tend to do is try to bring up, like when somebody gets hurt, beat up by the police, what's the first thing they do? They want to bring up that person's rap sheet and show you how much of a villain that person is, in order for you to not feel any way towards them, or not to feel, on their side, because it's horrible. They're a negative person. This is not the kind of person that I would want to side with. And what happens is it actually tints the lens of the way that you look at that person and the way that you process. But this is the
Well,
conversation that's gonna keep going. I ain't trying to do this all night, yo. I ain't doing the
well,
3
we're not
hours. I
gonna do
got
it
to
all night.
go, yo.
I'm gonna just say this real
My
quick.
sushi's getting room temperature.
The pathway of the money is he lost. He lost. And I'm gonna say this to everybody in America. If you lose, you lose. Know when to pick up your marbles and go on home. Kenny Rogers said it best. You gotta know when to hold them, know when to fold them, know when to walk away, know when you're done.
Yeah.
He's done. I love you.
Black Dahlia,
Bye.
Raw B. She's gonna be writing a book called The Art of Getting Robbed. You know what I mean? Look out, it's gonna be on Bantam Books, right? But yo, Raw B, let them know what makes you a unique soul within this universe before you roll out, please.
Because I fly free, because it's a privilege, and I'm never nice. I'm always naughty, but I know a lot of stuff, and I research my stuff, and I talk my mess. So come on over. The
Fuck out of
tea.
here with that bullshit.
Oh. Oh. That's okay. Let me tell y'all. Let me make y'all laugh real quick before I get out of here. Chef thought he was slick the other day. He was watching me. He was being a cloud baby. Shout out to Thanos, because Thanos gifted some memberships. Caught you slipping in the clouds that way.
Wait, say that
Welcome to
again?
the membership. I said you was being a cloud baby yesterday on one of my live streams, and Thanos gifted some memberships. So caught you.
What time
Gifted
was
you
your
a
stream?
membership.
No, what time was the stream?
It was earlier in the day. It was like 2:00 Central.
Because
So I was like,
sometimes look, right? And I got an iPhone, right? So I be on. What happens? No, seriously. I didn't see your stream. Like, it'll jump. The thing will jump when you're watching the show, and it'll jump to whatever's live. So literally, what was the stream? What was the stream about? Seriously.
oh, it was about how these men in these spaces are super sensitive, and I make them spend their money because they can't silence me regularly because they can't debate with me. So I had I made somebody spend $500 yesterday because they were mad.
So no, that's crazy. That's funny, because it must, like, literally, I didn't see it. I literally didn't see the show. The last show I saw you on was with you. Who was it? It was Aaron on Aaron. It was on Aaron's show.
Oh yeah. When I did is and I got against God or no.
Yeah, when you go in those spaces, you be going guns blazing. But anyway,
Gotta get him.
check out Raw B. She has some really entertaining
Love you, Andrea.
content. And hold it down, fam. I appreciate you. Yo, Andrea.
You know what?
Interesting, huh?
Yeah, interesting.
Is it?
I would say this. Is it wrong with what he's doing to the children? No. But at the same time, he does believe that his ex-wife stole some money from him. And I'm just gonna leave it as there. But sometimes kids and parents' relationship can be temperamental. And hopefully, I pray that everybody have a solution. See some therapy. And stay off of social media. And I will say this. I love my dad with everything of my heart. Ain't no way in hell I'm gonna put my family business on YouTube, on Instagram, on TikTok. It's just something that I'll just have to deal with or take it to my grave. Because I have the most respect for my dad. And yes, he might not be what I want him to be, and he might not do everything I want him to do. But ain't no way in well I'm airing our business for everybody to have their opinions about him. I hold him in a higher stake, and I don't want people judging him. So I'm not going to put my family business out there for people to judge and have conversations about him. That's just me. So the advice I can give to Ming Lee and Aoki, keep your family business off the YouTube, off of the streets for everybody to judge your dad. That's just my only opinion.
I appreciate you. And hey, listen, like I said, I'm a human. And because we're humans, we're fallible, we're faulty, you know. So I could be totally wrong, and I'm able to accept that once I'm provided with the information. But as everything stands at this point, what it looked like was he made a mistake in terms of sheltering assets and resources in her name. And because she had that access, she used it for her own needs. And in the end, it was a dumb investment because she took it and used it, and it was forfeited. And just 4 years later, what was forfeited is $465.3 million. That's not a drop in the bucket at all. But I allow this big-headed mind to be open for a changed opinion. All I need is information and fact. So thank you for joining. Thank you for joining in this night of intellectual debauchery. And I appreciate the ladies for popping up. So this wasn't just an echo chamber of Andrea and I believing what we believed. And I think it was a dope debate, you know. Let's keep it going. Once you got some more, that's worthwhile for taking a couple of hours out of your precious day. We'll do it again. You may not see me all the time. You ask Andrea, if I don't feel it, I can't do it.
Right.
You know, and me choosing to bring content that I feel to you, that's me being authentic to you. And I feel as though I respect your time. So I'm not just going to bring you some BS. All right. So thank you for being a part of this. And I'll let Andrea answer it. You know, we all know when I let you out of this place, I don't let you out and just making you walk out the spot. You know, I actually roll you out on a magic carpet with a big ass V in the middle. Andrea, please tell them what that V is.
Vibing. We're vibing.
Vibing all night long.
All night long.
Peace. Chef out.
Club phone jump, it's the weekend. Dream come true with the big friends. Hitting on doors, that's a defense. Rolling with all, that's an offense. Hit me, change you, let me preach it. With a bull shaking to my maybe drop bands. Today on buy, and I say, today on buy, you the kid play, baby, tell me what you want. Julian, I know you need fun. Ever since remember that we been knocking at the door. Y'all be moving paper, we be running up the school. Y'all before that pill that we was sleeping on the floor. West side Africa, you know the shit ain't cool. I don't care what they say. We don't care. Driving all night long. I don't care what they say. We don't care. Pop it, baby. Come roll with me. All night long. As times relax, my mind's relaxed. I got now from who got next. Here's my number, just send a text. You got a man and she responds, nah. Okay, showing up. I'ma let you go, don't wanna hold you up. I'ma call your phone when I put it up. Whoever let you go must be dumb as fuck. Wait far. Girl, you so fine, I pay for. Fly you first class to LA for. Body so blessed, I pray for. Body so blessed, I pray for. Because I don't care what you say.